Anker's new GaNPrime 6-in-1 charger is an absolute beast. With 250 watts of total output, it can handle whatever you throw at it, fast charging your laptop, your tablet, your phone, and more all at once. Like the Prime power banks, it has a built-in display with real-time stats, you have different charging modes depending on how you want to use it, and you can control the whole thing remotely from the Anker app, even when you're away from home. So let's see what this thing can do. What's up guys, Jack here, I'm at Tech Videos. Anker kindly sent me this to review, but this video is not sponsored by them. These are all of my own thoughts and opinions, and I'll link to this down below so you can check it out. But if you have been around on my channel for a while, then you'll know that I have bought and reviewed a lot of their power banks and chargers before. I think that they are some of the best that you can buy right now. But who is this for? Well, if you've got a lot of devices that you want to fast charge all at once, you've got 250 watts here across 6 ports. And if you are, pardon the pun, a power user, I think that you'll really like the management controls this has. If you want to give certain ports priority or monitor what's happening, then this is for you. But just before we get into it, I just want to make a quick announcement. I've turned on channel memberships for anyone that wants to support these videos in a more direct way. It is completely optional. My videos are still going to be available to everyone, but members will get a few extra perks. You'll get a cheeky little badge next to your name in the comments, special emoji that you can use. If you click the join button under this video or the link in the description, you can see all of the details. There are different tiers if you want to see some behind the scenes stuff and what's coming up, as well as member polls so that I can get your guys' input in a more direct way. But as always, you can support my videos by just watching them as well. And in fact, we did just cross over 22,000 subscribers. So thanks to all of you who are watching. You guys are awesome. So this is part of Anker's GaNPrime lineup, their top-end power banks and chargers, which we have looked at a few here on the channel before. And this fits right in with the dark grey textured plastic casing. It looks a little bit like a bedside clock, which funnily enough, you can use it to display the time. Looking around, we've got 4 USB-C ports on the front, along with a 2.26-inch display for real-time charging stats. There's 2 A ports on the right side for any lower power or legacy tech, along with a smart control knob for navigating and scrolling through the menus. And it's got a nice clicky feel to it as well. Around the back, there's a power port for the included C7 cable with either a UK, US or EU plug, wherever you're ordering from. And this is about 140 centimeters, so a decent length for plugging in behind your setup. Then underneath, some rubber strips to stop it sliding around on the desk. I really like the low flat profile. It makes it perfect for tucking away under a monitor stand, keeping your desktop tidy. It measures in at 10.6 by 4 by 9.3 centimeters. So pretty compact considering the power output. Definitely more of like a desktop hub though, as it is just over 600 grams. So I mean, I don't know, you might not want to carry this around day to day on the go, unless maybe you've got a lot of tech with you, or you're working as a team and you all want to share one charger, then this is perfect for that. This has a total output of 250 watts across all 6 ports when used together, with different limits to each one individually. So for 1 port charging, the C1 supports power delivery 3.1 with up to 140 watts of output. So you'll want to reserve that for those high power devices. Think like big laptops like a 16-inch MacBook Pro, which it will charge from 0 to 50% in around 25 minutes, or a full charge in about an hour and a half, like you get from the charger that Apple gives you. Then the C2, 3 and 4 ports output up to 100 watts when used individually, which is still a lot of power. And that's ideal for those like small to mid-sized laptops. Think like a MacBook Air or a 14-inch Pro, which each top out at around 70 and 96 watts. Or things like tablets, phones, power banks, cameras, they'll all tell the charger whatever wattage they need. So you don't need to worry about plugging smaller tech into such a high power charger. Then for the 2 A ports, they can each output up to 22.5 watts. For 2-port charging, using any combination of C1 with the 2, 3 and 4 can support a power delivery between 140 and 100 watts. And then for 6-port charging, plugging in all of your tech and using all of the ports at once, you'll get up to 100 watts from the C1 45 from each of the other C ports, and 15 watts across the two A ports, topping out at 250 watts altogether. Then for everything in between, there are of course a lot of possible combinations here, but just to keep it simple, use the C1 port for your most power-hungry devices, the 2, 3 and 4 for your medium power tech, and the two A ports for legacy devices or lower power stuff like smartwatches and earphones. Basically, don't waste the C1 port on your Apple Watch if you're trying to charge a MacBook Pro at the same time. Also, so many devices use USB-C now, so you can use this for almost anything. I have this light that I use for recording, which I can plug in directly and then run off the charger from my desk. And as you plug and unplug more things, you'll notice it dynamically adjusts the power each time. You can monitor all of this on the display. We've got a blue theme now for the new GaNPrime lineup. You've got the total output front and center with each individual port underneath. And this is where that cheeky little dial comes in. You can scroll along to see the A ports or select one to see the volts and amps in real time. And if you scroll all the way over to the settings, this is where you can change the charging mode. So by default, it's in the AI power mode where it automatically allocates the most suitable power to each port, as each device is going to ask for a different amount. And for most people, you can just leave it in that mode. In priority power mode, you can choose two ports that will take precedence over the others to charge those devices more quickly before the others, and the chosen ports will get a little lightning bolt next to them so you know which ones are set. Dual laptop mode prioritizes the charging of two laptops, as the name suggests, and low current mode reduces the overall power from all of the ports, and that means that you can slow charge your devices and help preserve their battery life, as faster charging can shorten battery health over time. Then there's a few other settings here, like you can adjust the screen brightness, how long it stays on before sleeping, which is all great, and I'm glad that we can control all of this from the device itself. But you can also connect this to the Anker app and control the charger over Bluetooth, which also unlocks a few extra settings. If you've got their 250 watt Prime power bank, this works largely in the same way. On the main page, we've got the outputs for each port, a graph of the total output underneath, updating in real time. Then here you've got switch controls. You can just straight up turn each one of these ports on or off remotely. So let's say you want to leave something plugged in, but you don't want to have it continuously sipping power or taking power away from the other ports, then you can just switch it off. You can also set a shutdown timer and choose exactly how long until a port turns off, or you can set a power schedule. So let's say maybe you go on a lot of weekend hikes and maybe you don't want to leave your power bank or your drone on charge all the time. You can leave it plugged into the C2 port and have it only charge at night so that it's ready each morning, with specific options for times and days when you want each port to turn on or off. Lots of management control for those that want it, but just a quick note, the A ports here are always treated as like one port and they always turn on and off together. Then to dive further into the settings, we've got more of the same settings here found on the device itself, but here there is a secret features menu, which is fun. These are more like little Easter eggs that you'll find as you start to use the charger. I've only found a couple of these so far, like if you twist that dial a bunch of times, you get these pointy eyes that give you a bit of a look, and Device Expert, and that is when you plug into all 6 ports at once, but for some reason it seems to have locked itself again. And I'm not sure what the others are, so if you've worked them out, then let me know down in the comments. Now, so far, these have all been things that you can control over Bluetooth, but this actually goes one step further as the charger also connects to Wi-Fi. So if you link it to your Anker account and your router, you can control all of these management settings away from home. So you can change the charging mode, or if you accidentally left something plugged in, you can switch the port off. You can set or change a power schedule while you're away on a trip, all remotely and away from home, and that's pretty useful. This also unlocks the clock display, so after the screen times out, you can have it display the date and time with 5 different themes to choose from. I'm not sure why this requires Wi-Fi though, as surely it could just sync the time over Bluetooth whenever you connect that way, so that is a mystery. And the same goes for firmware updates. Anker's 250 watt power bank doesn't even have Wi-Fi, so that will update through your phone when you're connected to the app over Bluetooth. But this charger can currently only update over Wi-Fi, So I hope that they give you the Bluetooth option as well in future. The latest version has actually added a new feature. So firstly, it has added a new menu for test features. And then inside here, you can turn on the new custom charging mode. This adds a fifth mode to the list, and this basically lets you set the output limits for each port exactly how you want. And you can make a few different ones of these, a few different custom modes, but you will only have access to them through the app with the most recent firmware. I really like the design. I think this can fit nicely into pretty much any setup. And I do prefer these more like flat style chargers for keeping them under a desk shelf. And it's a great way to reduce clutter as well, as you can use just one plug instead of 6. The screen is big and angled slightly, so it is nice and readable. As expected, this can get warm with lots of stuff plugged in, but not hot enough for me to worry about it at all. And it does have built-in temperature monitoring with Active Shield 3.0, which should keep tabs on that. Price-wise, this comes in at £170 or dollars, so more affordable than buying a bunch of separate chargers. And overall, I think it's a great bit of kit. It's a high-power desktop charger for all of your tech, with lots of control and power settings for those that want it. But for most people, you can just leave it in AI power mode and let it do its thing. I'll link to this down in the description. And I think I mentioned this in my review of the 250-watt power bank, but it would be so cool to get some of these charging stats from the app as widgets on the home screen. But I think that that is more of an iOS limitation, as I think they can only update like so often. If you've got any questions, then ask away down in the comments. Leave a like if the video helped you out, and hit subscribe and consider joining the channel if you want to see more tech videos from me. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.